Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring to the stage now a very funny man who has appeared everywhere and actually was once on the dating game one time, which you can actually find on YouTube. Am I correct, Tony? Yeah. Will you please welcome Mr. Tony Figueroa?
It's funny because this story takes place around the same time that I did the dating game, and if you see me, I'm like 160 pounds, and 30 pounds are hair gel at the time. If you look, I have like 10 times as much hair as I have now, which, you know, it says a lot, I think. So anyway, I think we're all having like these flashbacks from early days of stand-up, and so I'll be no different. I arrived early for a job interview at the Beverly Center in West Hollywood. See, I needed a new day job because my stand-up career caused me to have a punctuality problem with my last day job. But I knew that this day job would be the last day job that I would ever need because my career was about to take off. Now, I got to the Beverly Center a little early. I got to kill a little time. I'm wandering around. I stumble into this bookstore. And the psychic comes in. He was selling a book. He was going to do a little book signing, but he was also offering free psychic readings. I'm the only customer in the store. So I go over there and said, sure, I got time to kill. Let's do the psychic reading. The psychic asked for my ring, and he said he was going to get the reading off of that. And as soon as he takes the ring and gets himself into like this psychic trance, he asked me, what do I want to know about my future? And I asked him about my career. And he says, I got nothing in that department. He goes, but wait, I see that you're going to be in a motorcycle accident. And I said, I don't ride a motorcycle. And he says, well, I'm just telling you what I see. You are going to be in a motorcycle accident. And when I come to the realization, I am arguing with a psychic. I decided, okay, I think my time is up. As I'm leaving and he's handing me back my ring, I said, you know, I am going to a job interview in a few minutes. Am I going to get it? He goes, oh yeah. You know, that was it. I left the bookstore, didn't buy the guy's book. And frankly, I put that whole episode of The Psychic out of my head. Never gave it a second thought, just kind of left my brain. Now, I want to set the tone. I know we've been kind of building up these stories, but for some of you, you need to know, this was the 1980s. And for comedians, there was something called the comedy boom, which meant, yes, there were legitimate clubs, but any place that had a microphone and an amp considered themselves a comedy club at this time. Now, there were places that, you know, primarily dealt with music, but maybe on the night where the house band was off, they would say, hey, it's comedy night, and we'd get a lot of bookings there. And I would do a lot of these gigs. Now, I got heckled off stage once, not because I was bad, but because we were doing stand-up on the dance floor. And so they just wanted us off the stage so they can dance to whatever CDs that the DJ could pop in. So, I mean, that was the period. But, you know, I did get paid to do these things, and I also wanted to do this so I could get enough stage time and hone my craft, so when I had the opportunity to showcase at one of the real clubs, I would be ready. Now, at that time, this is the 1980s, one of the real clubs that was a favorite amongst many comedians was a place in West Los Angeles called Igby's. Right? Yeah? Nostalgic people here. Right? Now, I had been at Igby's many times, but I never got to showcase for the guy who runs the joint, Mr. Jan Maxwell Smith. And it wasn't for lack of trying. The first time I had an opportunity to showcase for Igby's, I got there, I was brought up on stage by a young MC, an unknown named Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, Rosie was killing this audience of 15 people with an impersonation of Elvis's mom. And she brought me up, I did a 10-minute set, I killed, at least that's my story. And, you know, Rosie said, yeah, great set. I get off, somebody comes up to me and says, you know, I'm sorry, Jan couldn't make it. Last minute he got tickets to see the Lakers play at the Forum. But give us a call, come back in a couple of weeks, and we'll do this all over again. So I give a call, I come back in a couple of weeks, Rosie O'Donnell's the MC again, she kills with the Elvis mom bit, I do the same set I did before, I killed again another 15 people. Rosie said, yeah, great set, and somebody comes up to me and says, Jan's not here tonight since the Lakers made the playoffs. He's at the Forum, but don't worry. Call in a couple of weeks. We'll set it up again. We could do it all over again. Not a problem. Now, earlier in the day of what would be my third showcase, by the way, basketball season was over. My roommate, my college roommate, had gotten a used motorcycle, and he was going to teach me how to ride it. I don't go maybe 3 blocks where I hit a dip in the road that was filled with water. Now, from my perspective, I didn't hit a dip in the road. It just looked, since it was filled to the top with water, it looked like the asphalt was wet and shiny. So basically, I hit an optical illusion. But I hit that, and when we hit the dip, my roommate falls off the back of the motorcycle. He's fine, but I keep going, and we do kind of a flip. I hit the ground, the motorcycle hits me, and together we slide a few yards. Now, I get up from this little wreck. I'm staggering over to the curb. I'm picking asphalt out of my temple and my arm. My acid wash jeans were more distressed now than they were when I bought them. My Reeboks were shredded. My ankle is swollen. And my roommate is saying, I think we need to take you to the hospital. And I said, as long as it doesn't take too long because I'm showcasing tonight at Igby's. Then my roommate tells me that he thinks I'm in shock. And so I go to Cedars-Sinai, which is just a few blocks from where we live. I get into the emergency room and there's a nurse that greets me with, "Oh, you came at a bad time. We got 3 gunshot wounds and 2 heart attacks, and we really have to take care of them first, otherwise what's the use?" No embellishment, that's the exact quote, and the exact amount of whine in her voice. So I'm put in an exam room with a guy who thought it was a good idea to climb the Hollywood sign. He is covered with paint from basically sliding down and the white paint smeared on, and he had huge cuts all over him. I mean, it was pretty bad. He was in no pain, which probably is why he thought, you know, climbing the Hollywood sign was a good idea. And they're applying different ointments. They're scrubbing various parts of my body, getting the asphalt out. The doctor is telling my roommates he needs to go home and rest. And I said, "No, wait a second, I can't do that because I'm showcasing at Igby's tonight. I can't do that." But I had all this ointment which was slowly drying and becoming hard, and there was no way I could drive myself. And in spite of my strong trooper instincts, my roommates were going to make sure that I stayed home and I rested, and I was, just going to behave myself. And it took me several hours to finally come to the realization, I'm not showcasing tonight. And I called Igby's to say that this wasn't going to happen, and the person who answered the phone treated me as if I was pretending to call in sick for work, which usually one does, by faking a scratchy throat. And I said, no, I was really in a motorcycle accident. I really want to be there, but I can't. So, third time didn't happen. I never had a chance to showcase at Igby's again. And shortly thereafter, I was noticing some of my friends' careers really start to progress and take off. Even, sit on Johnny's couch. And for a long time, I was kicking myself with, if only I had a chance to showcase at Igby's, where would I be right now? And then, many years later, I'm back at the Beverly Center, and I notice that bookstore is gone, and that's when I remembered that psychic. And what he told me about the motorcycle, or more importantly, about my career. And I would tell the story about the accident for many, many years to come, but this is the first time I decided that enough time has passed and I didn't have to keep the part about the psychic to myself. Thank you.
Figueroa, one more time for Tony. I swear to God, Tony, when you got to that one part where you said you went into the emergency ward, the nurse said you'd come at a bad time, I thought she was going to say, Jan's not here. And by the way, for those of you, they called the 80s the comedy boom because it eventually went boom.